Hey guys, it's Dagger here. I've never done a talking video, but I figured I'd do one because there's been a few things in Dirty Bomb that have been pissing me off, to be honest with you, and I just figured I'd make a video about it. The first thing I wanted to talk about was 5-mans in competitive, but it's been a big topic already. But the way I see it is that even though they removed 5-mans, they never gave us an option to play 5-mans, and I know they've been working with DB Nation to try and get scrimming more important to people while they fix the whole 5-man situation, but it just seems like, considering that there was only 15% of the community that was wanting to do 5-mans, why didn't we just get given an option to search for only 5-mans? And even though they say they're going to fix it now, it just seems like they could have done it, because we were waiting so long for the first ranked season to come out. Why didn't they just do it back then and not just completely remove it? Because at the moment, just solo and duo queuing is just an abysmal wasteland of just toxic players, leavers, and it just doesn't seem right. Like, I enjoy playing this game with 5 of my friends. Like, the only reason I started playing this game was because I had a team of friends to play it with, and it's just so boring now. I understand that it could have been that Splash Damage just wasn't ready, and there was a lot of pressure to bring out the first season, but if that really was the case, why couldn't they just be transparent with us and tell us that and say that it isn't ready? Because the way I see it is that Splash Damage are a great developer in which that they communicate with the community quite a lot. It's just they don't seem to be transparent when it comes to updates and stuff. And I understand, to build hype, you don't really want to be fully transparent and tell everyone what's going to happen, but you've got to tell us some stuff, or else it's just going to cause uproar and no one's going to understand why it's happening. Like, some of the nerfs and balances that they do, I understand where they're coming from. It's just, I don't understand why they do it in those specific ways. It seems to be they're just trying to make everyone happy, but that's understandable. I mean, it's an open beta, they're trying to build hype, trying to get more people involved with the game. It's just that it seems to be that by doing that, they're just balancing their game in ways that's only patching the problem and making it somewhat worse sometimes. And it just seems like they should listen to the more veteran players who have played maybe Wolfenstein ET or have played the game for thousands of hours, because they understand what needs to be done to the game to make it more balanced, not the people who have played for 40 minutes and think Nade is OP or Sparks needs a nerf. But not wanting to go on to too much of a tangent about balancing and nerfs and stuff, I think one of the major things with competitive that Splash Damage just don't understand is that there are so many people who love their game so much they're willing to sit in a 50-minute queue just to get a 5-man. So I don't understand why they would take it away from us. If we're willing to do it, then they shouldn't just remove that option for us. And I understand that scrimming is still a big part of this whole argument, but there's no reward to that. And I know that there's tournaments and stuff that go on, but no team who have just got into playing Dirty Bomb are going to be able to win those tournaments, because I've played in Proving Grounds and I suck, really. But I'd love to just jump into a competitive game that isn't 6v6 or 8v8 clusterfucks like in pubs and just play with mates, but that's impossible at the moment. And although that I'd wish that they would just add a 5-man queue in by tomorrow, I know they can't, but at least be nice for them to explain what they're doing while we wait for this magical 5-man season to come back. Because at the moment I don't even want to play in the first season. It's just depressing. I think one of the major problems that's happening right now is that there's not a big enough player base to actually have a competitive season of 5-mans, because there's no one to play at those ranks. And the people that come into this game are only solo queuing. But there's no advertisement to bring more people in. And I know that it's an open beta, so they're not going to really put a lot of money into marketing now until they completely patch up the game and it's ready. But competitive's going to suffer until then. And it might even suffer afterwards if there's not enough players in there anyway. So the way I see it is that we're not going to have enough players to play in until the game gets a full release. But until then, you shouldn't just screw over your veteran fans who are willing to play this game until it's death, and they enjoy the game that much that they're willing to sit in a 50-minute queue. but it just seems to be that you're helping out the people with 50 hours who only whine about balance problems and bad matchmaking. Because the fact of the matter is, when I started playing this game, I played in duo and trio queues and I got destroyed by 5-man teams. But I didn't stop playing. The people that stop playing aren't going to stay around even if we do remove 5-man queues. There's been a few discussions on the forum about dev tools and community content being made, and it seems to be that the devs are leaning away from having community content in the game, not because of... I mean, there's got to be some reasons for it, as in maybe giving out dev calls could increase hacking and things like that, but you're in open beta, and you've released maybe 2 maps in over 6 or 7 months maybe. But the thing is that if you gave dev tools to the community, then they would be able to put out maps and help you along with the process of adding these maps and balancing things. And not to compare Splash Damage to any other developer, but if you look at what Epic Games have been doing with Unreal Tournament, they have literally gave out every bit of source code to the community to help them build the game. And I understand that this isn't built from scratch. This has been around for a while, but even just dev tools for mapping, like the Unreal Engine, that would be so useful to you and the community, because the community knows what they want. And I'm pretty sure that there's enough talented people on the forums and in the community that would be able to make good maps. And I'm not a game designer, so I don't understand how much work would have to go into making dev tools that don't give away too much information, and I would assume it's very difficult. But if it was done, then there would be enough interest for people to actually make the maps, and then that way you've cut yourself out for half the work anyway. I mean, if you look at CSGO or TF2, Valve gave out dev tools, as in the source engine, for years to make get people to make maps. And most of the best maps in Counter-Strike and in TF2 are made by the community, and they were published by Valve. Valve have even borrowed concepts and code for things like co-op missions in CSGO. They weren't a thing until someone made a custom map for it, and Valve decided to develop that and make it a real thing. My last point isn't really a problem yet. It's more of just a worry that Splash Damage are adding too much in the ways of content, and I completely understand adding content, but it seems to be they do it to keep relevance, and I'm scared that they're going to add too many mercs or too many different types of weapons or different types of augments, and I'm all for new augments at the moment, but it just seems like if they add too much to stay relevant, they're going to end up like maybe games like TF2, where that game's been broken for years because Valve just keep adding new weapons and items that break the game. And I just don't want to see Dirty Bomb to do that, because they haven't even announced that they don't know how many mercs they're going to add in the end. But if there's a merc every couple of months or every 2 weeks, as there used to be, then there's going to be a problem with some balancing issues from that. But I don't think it's going to be a problem yet, and I hope it never will be a problem. It just seems to be that I don't want it to get too flooded, like when CSGO decided to add a new weapon that was completely broken just to stay relevant because people complaining that there wasn't enough updates. But you don't need that many updates in the game. And saying that, I mean in the ways of mercs and weapons, not maps, because the maps are getting stale, let's be honest. I've played the maps thousands of times, and I've only played about 500 hours of this game anyway, and I'm getting bored of it, which really goes back to the whole community content thing, that if you could run map contests with rewards to try and find the best maps, and the community could vote on it. And I think what you've got going already with Dockyard and Gallery, where you let us test it out and give you feedback, is already a good thing, but I think letting the community have a go at it as well would definitely help, and it wouldn't just be that person's decision alone. You could take in that map and develop it with the community for balancing issues and stuff like that. But Anyway, guys, that was just my opinions on some of the stuff that's going on with Dirty Bomb and Splash Damage, and I'd love to hear your guys' opinions on this, because mine are probably not right, if anything. But thanks you guys for watching, and if you did make it this far, have a pug. And if you're new to this channel, maybe stick around. I'm going to be uploading a video of our adventures at LAN by probably next week, if I get around to editing it. And there's going to be more Dirty Bomb content in the future. Alright, peace.